Good morning. Today is Wednesday, March 20th, and it's the first day of spring. You probably didn't realize that, but it is, and the reason why I said that is because it's really cold outside. Like, how cold is it right now? It's like 16 degrees. Isn't that nice? First day of spring. Hello. It got really cold last night, and it's only supposed to get up to the upper 20s today, which I'm not complaining about that too much. I mean, yes, it'd be great if it could be like 40 or 50 or 60. Oh, it's 18 degrees right now. So yeah, lots of sarcasm going on with spring not really happening like we really kind of wanted to. It's been a long, drawn out winter, and we're just ready for just like 40. Like, I'd be happy if it was just 40 for a couple weeks, but it keeps dipping down and whatnot. But officially on the calendar, it's the first day of spring, and I should just make it a statement, not a maybe. I'm going to run a half marathon today because today's the first day of the Jelly Bean virtual run. So I thought, what would be a perfect day? I don't have a half marathon scheduled within the time restraints of the Jelly Bean run, so I thought I would just have to run one on my own since I signed up for it, and because I'm crazy. So I thought today would be a good day. Let's celebrate spring. Let's get up there and do 13.1, and I would really wish I could do it tomorrow, because tomorrow it is supposed to get up to like 40, but knowing how my day looks tomorrow or even into Friday, I might be able to do Friday, but I got this big training this weekend, and if I keep looking down, it's because I actually have my timer out so that I don't go over too much. I just need to get it done. No excuses. I need to get it done today. 13.1. I can do it. It'll be a good training run for me. I'm going to do it later. I've even got my route all mapped out. So I start from my house, and if I stop right at the corner, that's when it's 13.1. So I'm going to do it. Okay. My title today was going to be "You Are a Runner." Okay. And, I'm pretty sure that I've discussed this before. I don't know if I've vlogged about it. I know I've mentioned it on my blog at some point in some way. And I do know, because I can think of one particular time where there's a friend that I have, and he was like, oh, I don't remember how he said it, but whatever it is, he's like, well, I don't run like you, or I'm not as fast as you, or whatever. And I remember saying, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be the same kind of runner that I am to be able to call yourself a runner. And this last weekend, as I mentioned in yesterday's post, I was at Hearts at Home, and the main guest speaker was Candace Cameron. And I'm not even sure how you say her last name, Burr, but because I had to step out to take a phone call from my kids when she first came on stage and everything. So I just call her Candace Cameron because that's what she's most commonly known for. I mean, she is married now and has a family, but she's most commonly known as Candace Cameron, who was DJ on Full House and had her brother Kirk Cameron, which everybody had to know him if you were an 80s preteen teen, with growing pains and stuff. But Candace was our speaker, and she was great to hear. She was wonderful. And I went to her table, and I was going to, I didn't buy her book. She had a book for sale. I didn't buy it because it had to do with weight loss, and I would imagine it's a fabulous book, but it wasn't necessarily something that I felt like, oh my goodness, I really need this book. I really need to read this. If I bought every book that I wanted at Hearts at Home, I would have spent a lot of money. So I have to really limit myself and prioritize, like, I really need this book. I really could use this book. That would have been on the low of my list. I don't tend to struggle with my weight. Not that I couldn't have a few pounds that I could lose or a couple inches to take off, but it's not something that I really need some motivation and reading up on and whatnot. That's a whole other subject. But anyways, her book really wasn't something that I really wanted to buy. So I was going to ask if I could just get my picture with her because, she's famous. It's kind of cool, pretty cool. But when I walked up, I actually heard somebody else ask the same question. And so she was not doing personal pictures. that weekend. So I don't know exactly why. The only thing I could think of is, 5,000 women-ish, 5,000-ish women were there. And it probably would have taken a lot of time to stop and take pictures with everybody that wanted a picture. So I don't know. I didn't really question why. It was just, they just, very politely said, she's not doing that this weekend. She's just signing and whatnot. So when I heard that, I first stepped away and then I walked away for a little bit. And then I remembered Candace had talked about being a runner and whatnot. So I went back to her table and I was like, hey, I heard that you were a runner. And she's like, oh, well, I'm not a real, I'm paraphrasing. She didn't say this exactly. She's like, well, I'm not a real runner. I like to, Kimmy or Andrea is her real name. Kimmy was the character off of Full House, and they're still really good friends. Kimmy, she's the real runner. She runs like half marathons and stuff like that. And Candace just likes to do like the color runs and mud. I don't know the exact words that she's done, but things like Warrior Dash and the color run and the glow run. Things like that are shorter distance. Usually 5K, maybe a little bit more. And they're fun. They have obstacles. They have a thing that you do while you're doing it and stuff. So she's like, I just like to do those. And she'd mentioned that she's working up to, she would like to run a half marathon with Kimmy at some point, but didn't necessarily have anything picked out and whatever. And we kind of got interrupted because somebody had wanted their book signed and just kind of like shoved their book in front of me. And I'm like, okay, so I took it as I didn't even look at that woman who did it because honestly I thought she was being pretty rude and I didn't want to give her a nasty look. So I was just like, okay, well, I just wanted to stop and talk with you. And I was like wrapping up what I was talking to Candace about because I wasn't asking for her autograph. I wasn't, I didn't buy her picture. I didn't buy her book. I didn't buy, I just wanted to talk with her. So I was just wrapping it up, and so the last thing I said, it was great to hear her talk about running. Running always gets me excited, and I just looked at her and I said, "You're a runner. You're a runner. You are." So, and I really just like to, whether it's somebody famous like Candace, and I will admit that I was like a little starstruck and everything. I was like, oh my gosh, talking to somebody really famous and somebody I watched when I was growing up on TV, and but I was just trying to have just a basic real conversation with her, and running is one of my passions and she likes to do it. And so I just looked at her and I said, you're a runner. You're a runner. You'll get, I said, you'll get there. And I was referring to the half marathon. You can do it, So it just kind of reminded me in general that I do hear that so much that, well, I'm not a real runner, or I'm not a runner like you. Someone posted on my Facebook, as a friend, it's been a couple weeks too, and something like, I'm not verbatim, she's like, I know it's not a big deal to you, but I actually ran for a full mile today. And I'm like, she wasn't there, it was through Facebook, but I'm like, that's super exciting. And I made sure that when I responded back, I told her, that's super exciting. I get really excited when people run in their way and they have their own victories. And if she ran a mile, I am super excited about that. And I consider her a runner, I consider a lot of people runners, and it doesn't matter about pace or, I hear the comment a lot too, if I'm going to run with someone, they're like, oh, you're really going to have to lower your standards. You're really going to have to slow down. And why would I care? If I want to run with somebody, I want to run with somebody. I don't care what your pace is. Sometimes I run with somebody a little bit faster and it pushes me. Sometimes I run with someone and their pace is a little bit slower. And that's okay. I'm fine with that. Sometimes I'm more about just going out and getting the run done. It's not always about maintaining a certain pace or whatever. If I really want that, I know not to ask somebody. If I have a day where I really want to focus on a certain pace and I really want to do my own thing, I know not to ask anybody. I go out and do my own thing because then there's no one to slow me down, or no one that I feel like I have to keep up with, and it's too challenging. So, but it just, sometimes it can be frustrating because I feel like people put those, they put those words in my mouth. They put those expectations on me that I don't even put on me, that, well, I'm not a real runner. I'm not a runner like you. And I'm just like, why do people do that? It's just kind of frustrating. I don't mean to be like exasperated about it, but it doesn't matter how fast or how slow or how far you run. I don't care where you are in your journey. I have someone who wants to do a 5K, and she told me, she's like, it might take me 45 minutes. And I'm like, that's fine though. You completed a 5K. That's a big deal. It doesn't matter if you walked it. If you walked if you ran one block and you're like, okay, that's it, I'm going to walk the rest. I don't really care. I'm super excited. And I love to, celebrate people's accomplishments in their running and in where they are in their journey. And so many people are runners. And I've tried to be a little more vocal about it. I try to be very encouraging. I hope I don't come off as like being really snobby and looking down at people with their running. And I'm like, we're all in this together. It's the running community, and I don't care how far you go or how fast or slow you run. You're a runner, and I want people to really start looking at me. I forgot how I was going to phrase that. I just want people to start looking at me as an equal. We're all runners. That's the only thing that matters. Bottom line is that we are all runners. And so I try to encourage people who come to me and can be kind of down or whatever. And so what, I'm faster. That doesn't necessarily make me any better than anybody else. Somebody could have a lot more heart and passion and ability and what's the word I'm looking for? Someone can dream just as big as I do. Who cares if you run slower than I do? And it's kind of like get away from the comparison game. And I have to be just as guilty too, because I follow some blogs that I could very easily fall into that trap. It's like, well, I don't run as fast as her, or my body doesn't look as good as her. I don't feel like I have a runner's body. Some people may very well argue that, because people tell me all the time, Carmen, you look freaking amazing. So, okay, well, I look amazing. That's great. And I don't doubt that, I'm not saying my body's the bomb, but I work hard at it. It's good. I'm fine with it. But I don't have that long torso. I don't have those long legs. So I don't have a runner's body, but, and that's not a put down. I'm just saying that's a statement, but at the same time, I can't compare myself. So I can very easily think of, a couple blogs that I follow that they have that, I got that long, lean torso and I've got that short, chubby one. If you could stretch me just a few inches, that'd be great. But I'm happy with who I am. So I focus on that. I focus on who I am, and I am a runner. And if you focus on who you are a runner too. So that was my whole thing for today. So I tend to be, excuse me, I'm such a talker, and I learned this, excuse me. Okay, gotta calm down here. I learned this last weekend. If you really know me, you're gonna be like, well, duh. But I learned this last weekend that I'm a pleaser, and pleasers tend to talk more than other people because we're worried about how our words are going to come out and how people convey it. So we have to make sure that, like, I can't just say, you're a runner, quit comparing yourself to each other, boop, and be done. I can't do that. It's like I have to have this whole big realm of explanation and everything else, because I have to make sure that I please anybody and everybody. And I have to work on that, and I really do, because like yesterday I posted the picture of, me and my girlfriends, and we weren't wearing makeup, and I said the comment something like, I've already gone over my time that I wanted to go over. I made the comment something like, without the mask of nice clothes and makeup. And I so wanted to put in parentheses, not that there's anything wrong with nice makeup and nice clothes. I'm not saying there's anything bad with that. I'm just saying that sometimes, I just want to, like, when I say something, like I am now, I know when I'm doing it. When I say something, I have to be like, okay, but not this, and don't worry, I'm not implying this, and it's okay if you think that. And so I tend to have these big, long explanations with things that I say, because I'm a pleaser, and I want to make sure that when somebody's listening, that I'm pleasing everybody with my words. So something, actually, I already kind of knew that about me, but I'd never really heard that explanation about my words and how I have to have these big elaborate explanations to go along with I knew I was a pleaser. I could have told you that, but you're a runner. I just deviated there for a minute. You are a runner. I don't care how fast or how slow. if you know me personally, stop putting expectations on me that I don't even put on myself. I am very happy with what you're accomplishing, where you are running, how fast, how slow, what you wear, how far you go. I am happy and I'm excited and I want to hear about it and I want to celebrate with you and I want to encourage you in every way possible. I don't care if you never run a half marathon or if you never run a 10K, pick whatever distance it is. If you only ever run 1 mile, I'm happy for you and I'm excited. You are a runner. I want people to embrace that more. Whether you're my girlfriend here in town or whether you're Candace Cameron, you're a runner and you go out and do your thing and you be awesome. All right, I'm going to close it up. It's the first day of spring. I'm off to a good start this morning. At least the sun is shining. I have found most recently that the temperatures can fluctuate, but as long as the sun is shining bright, I'm like, oh, seriously, I run down the road and I'm just like, oh, this feels so great. The sun is shining on my face. And my baby girl. Okay, have a great day. Have a great first day of spring. Let me know what you're up to. And you tell me you are a runner. Love you. Have a good day. Bye. Let me turn it off. Here we go.